All lies will be exposed.
Oh, good evening and hello, everyone. I know all of you had a very busy day today. Sorry we couldn't join you in the morning. Had some work I had to do and some other things in between. But I always promise you an evening night with Hardlands Media, as I should all the time, every time. So, ladies, buckle up. Don't ride too hard. And gents, hey, take it easy too. Welcome to Hardlands Media. I'm wearing my fancy red little velvet jacket just for you guys and gals. Where are the gators at in my chat? Please hit the like button, like, comment, share, and subscribe here. There you go. Corlor looking sharp in the red, my man. Of course, red is the color of the gods, and red is good fortune. And you know, I actually got some good news today. Not earth-shattering good news, but enough to put my mind at ease and make me feel a little happy right now. So you know what? Happy times all around. Side note, my little niece is just getting more adorable by every single day. So there you go. So just some wonderful good news. And I hope all of you are doing well. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Donnie. Hope you're doing well. Please take good care of yourself. Popeye the Sailor, this is a high order from the commander. Take it easy on yourself. To Chanda. To Natalia. To Aspen. You three are an inspiration, and I want to give a shout out to Indy at INN News for doing a video for all three of these brave, strong women who I hope not only for their trials and tribulations to soon be over, but to be living very good, beautiful, peaceful lives. So shout out to those three titans. And I, the Mad King, know when to bow, and I will bow to all three. So there you go. There you go. All right. Want to give a shout out to everybody. Hey, look, if people do good by me, you do good by me. Oh, I don't forget. The Mad King never forgets. So there you go. All right. So there you go. Exactly, Miguel H. Which, by the way, where have you been? Huh? Where you been, Miguel? Where you been, Miguel? You know, I'm going to call you out here just before we get started with the show. By the way, morning dump will actually be the evening dump. I got some fun little music for all of us to hang out. But Miguel H., you know, I'm kind of wondering, like, where you been at, man? Where you been at? Huh? Where you been at? You work for the CIA, FBI, DOD? Where you been at? Where you been at? You know something? It's stuff like this. It's stuff like this where, you know, I got to confront you. You know, stuff like this. It's stuff like this where I got to confront you, man. You know what? I mean, I think you don't have to see the White House counselor anymore. No. You got to go somewhere else, buddy. You definitely got to go somewhere else.
Out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here, psychopath. Get out.
Don't call me a whore to my face.
Get out of here.
Stop.
Get out of here, psychopath.
Okay,
Get out of
you
here.
can stop
Follow me the whole
yelling at
fucking
me.
way. Get
You
to
can
the
stop
subway.
yelling
Go
at
to
me.
the fucking
You can
subway.
stop yelling
You were yelling at us.
in my
Go to
face.
the fucking subway. You yelled
Okay.
at us. Go to the
You can
fucking
stop yelling in my
You
face.
yelled at us. Go to the fucking subway. Go to the fucking subway. Get out of here.
Go to the subway. Miguel, go to the subway. Where? The sandwich shop or the train? You decide. Go to the effing subway. Anyways, welcome to Hard Lens Media. We got ourselves a super show for all you lovely, beautiful people. So there you go. Everyone, go. Santa Claus is trademarked by Coca-Cola. Well, I didn't get that memo. I'm pretty sure jolly old Saint Nick didn't get that memo either. So there you go. Mastermind says, eat fresh. There you go. And see, every time there's good news, a kiddie's eating a succulent meal somewhere out there. Which, by the way, I've realized now I don't think I could ever play that video again. Because you know what? I think you'll get hit with copyright. I mean, my goodness, what's going on out there? There you go. But anyways, folks, we got some breaking news, and I want to talk about it right here, right now. Plus, we're also going to be talking about the news in which Tucker Carlson apparently dropped a bomb on, you know, this whole thing with Thomas Crooks, and there's the fallout with that too. Even Megyn Kelly, who I don't know why she's look, we live in a country for free speech. Everyone's allowed to share their opinions. I don't know why she's still talking after her debacle a few days ago, but hey, to each their own. We live in a crazy world here, folks. But let's get started with our first segment of the day, and I'm going to treat it as breaking news because to me it could be earth-shattering, especially for tomorrow. So let's talk about it. Let's go, Ghostbusters. Okay, so Donald Trump confirms that he would sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law if it passes Congress. Remember, the key word, not Trump confirms Epstein Files into law. No, if it passes Congress. If I am furious. If you got that reference, I love you. Kit, that's an old book to reference, I know. But I feel Am's anger. I have no mouth, and I must scream, and that is what I must do right now. So Donald Trump is talking about it. So I guess the public pressure from people and politicians, not only in the Democrat Party and Republican Party, seem to be weighing in on this. But remember, as I've said before, there are no saints and angels in Washington, D.C. The Democrats want to weaponize this against Donald Trump, and of course, the Republicans are buckling under pressure. Remember, politicians are not friends with each other, and they sure as hell don't like you, the American people, the average voter. I mean, What do you expect them to do when you elect them in office? Them to fight for you? Oh, no. They got gold-plated healthcare, 6-figure salary, and have piles and piles of crap to dive into just to get a little ounce of gold because they're just that greedy and soulless. But nonetheless, this looks like a sign of some good things. We'll see how this plays out for tomorrow, but chances are I'm not going to hold my breath. But remember, if, and of course, Donald Trump wanted to add in his 2 cents on how he'd weigh in on this. And remember, this is Donald Trump, not the greatest orator of our times, but nonetheless, here's our president and commander-in-chief. If you are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, there's a therapist out there that's going to collect your check. Don't worry.
Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at...
Gonna pause right there. 8 seconds in. I'm sorry. Trump, weren't you a Democrat, honey child? Weren't you friends with Horn Dog Bill and Hillary Clinton? Hey, folks, is good old Mad King Kit finally off his rocker? Hashtag unsubscribe. Have I finally gone nuts? Hey, let's have democracy in the chat, just for our souls that desperately need a milkshake. But do you remember when Donald Trump used to be a Democrat? Type 1 for Kit. My opinion is Donald Trump's a Republican, and you need to shut up. Type 2. No, Kit, don't worry. You're not going crazy yet. Your conscience and reality are hitting you at a million miles. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. I remember he was a Democrat too. I wonder how many 2s will show up in the chat. I almost said tat. I'm stuttering and stammering here. I wonder how many 2s will show up in the chat. Chat.
Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know,
yeah, it's because the people who committed those incidents or either that were in charge of key information. Oh no, that document fell in the industrial paper. Oh no, that document just fell into the big old fire. Oh no, I had no toilet paper, so I had to wipe it and flush it down the toilet. Oh no, it all disappeared. Oh no, key witnesses disappeared. Hello, I'm still alive out here. Hello. You're in the wall. Shut up. I'm just saying, folks, you know, the reason why none of us are satisfied is because it's stuff that we know, or it's one big old circle jerk, okay? Now, look, hey, listen, to each their own. If you like being part of a circle jerk, fine, whatever. Everyone can be happy, but the Epstein files, I mean, whatever you release isn't enough. It's because somehow, I do remember earlier this year, and maybe I am going crazy, or maybe I'm just so jaded now that I just can't look at the realm of politics even seriously anymore. Like, I'm looking at it in a grim, dark fashion, but I remember the documents being on Pam Bondi's desk, and you're not going to believe this. They somehow disappeared. Or either that, something wasn't correct. What, did the dog eat it? Like, I know that's an excuse, like kids would say, like, you know, in elementary school. Yeah, teacher, the dog ate my homework. As Bart Simpson once said when his dog actually did it, you guys actually do that?
With Kennedy, we gave everything, and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything, and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now,
Russia hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. You know, I swear, I'm going crazy. My CIA handlers are going to probably call me up. Kit, listen. You're not going crazy yet. Listen, we love you, but I think you need to have a breather. But I swear, there were a lot of conservatives, Republicans who were talking about the Epstein files even during the height of the Biden-Harris administration. It didn't seem like a Democrat hoax then, and now it is. Like, what is it? Really, seriously? It's a Democrat hoax? Really? When Democrats were also covering up? Kind of pissing me off here, Trump. Sometimes you make me laugh, buddy, but you know, then reality hits me and I'm like, oh wait, you and Bill Clinton knew Epstein because he was your buddy, your pal. High Five Mountain, right?
Now, I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country.
Mastermind R says this. If we're going to circle jerk, I hope it gets next to Laura Boebert. You know what, buddy? I'll make sure that happens. I know who's the most loyal of the loyal. I'll see if I can arrange that for you, Mastermind. Get up, go see the White House counselor.
Hundreds of billions of dollars with that at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for any, I don't, they can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends.
Oh, so Epstein was only friends with the Democrats, right? Listen, I'm going to let you all in a little secret, okay? If you ever become a lobbyist, first you got to sell your soul or not have a soul at all, period. But always to hedge your bets and protect yourself, buy Democrat and Republican lawmakers. You'll realize they're just the same, just a different color. Shade red, shade blue. He knew them both. He was friends with them both. Trump used to be a Democrat. And I don't care. The most diehard Trump supporter can yell at me as much as they want. He used to be a Democrat. Friends with Bill Clinton. Friends with Hillary Clinton. He invited him to their wedding. Bill and Trump knew Epstein. I'm going to say it again. Bill and Trump not only knew Epstein, they were buddies. They were friends. And I'm tired of everyone saying that, oh, one knew the other better. No, both. So, anyways, here's Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson being confronted about it. You know, basically saying, and this one person asked him if he will support the bill he's been trying to kill for months. He says, I haven't tried to kill it. We had lots of opposition to the discharge because it's dangerous in the way it's drafted. Why is it dangerous? Why is it dangerous? Why is it dangerous? Why is it dangerous, House Speaker? Who's it dangerous to? The American person? The average American citizen? You know, the regular guy and gal just driving down the street, mind their own business, realizing they're ruled over by a bunch of sociopaths?
So I also believe it is an entirely moot point because, as you know, the Oversight Committee is doing all their deliberate work. So
you talked to the president. Do you advise him to get behind it?
He and I talked about it quite a bit, but I'm not going to get into the content of what was said. But his statements speak for themselves, and he has nothing. He's never had anything to hide. He and I had the same concern that we wanted to ensure that victims of these heinous crimes are completely protected from disclosure. Those who don't want their names to be out there, and I'm not sure the discharge does that, and that's part of the problem.
The president.
So the audio is a little low, but you know, here we have Mike Johnson giving a little word salad about why he couldn't do it because it's so dangerous. Who's it dangerous to? Oh, that's right, his owners. I mean, donors. Sorry, corporate donors in Washington D.C. Because remember, Epstein didn't know, not only knew all the politicians, he knew all the movers and shakers in finance, banks, Hollywood execs, music execs. He knew them all. He was buddies and friends. He hobnobbed with everybody. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody knew what it was about. And Shy Bryce says, wasn't Trump a Democrat originally? Well, bless your heart. You hit the nail on the head. Was that one there, buddy?
It's called utility Green a traitor. She says that it's impacting her security and safety. Would you advise the president to stop calling her a traitor?
I don't, look, it's not surprising that the president was frustrated.
Of course, that had to deal with the fact that Trump is calling MTG, you know me, a traitor. Now, look, I have my different opinion with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and there's a million things I disagree with her about. And I am ever hopeful that Congress could pass it. But remember, Trump said he'd sign it if it passes Congress. Heaven forbid a congressman or woman calls in sick or, oh no, we have a distraction. Beep, 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 beep. A congressman or woman has just recently passed away. Anything or something could happen tomorrow. Best case scenario, it passes and hey, we get more files released. Or distraction time, or somebody's going to get involved. Who knows? Maybe the Senate parliamentarian will get involved. The greatest magician in the city of Atlantis will get it, or Atlanta, haha, Atlanta, screwed it up. I don't know. Anyways, something out there will find a way to throw the monkey a little wrench into the gears, and there you go, a little monkey wrench in all of it, and kaboom! Nothing gets passed. Nothing happens. But just a short reminder, folks. These are the victims of Epstein.
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
You want to know the real horrific truth of it all? Something that will keep you up at night. There's probably some successor to Epstein recreating the system that he put up, him and his fantastic little scumbag ex-girlfriend, Miss Maxwell. Somebody's out there doing it. There are probably some other Epstein or Epstein-like people out there willing to do the system of blackmail, abuse, and harassment out there. And what? Are we not shocked by it? I mean, look at the protection. Look at the shield wall that's surrounding him. Just want to throw this out here, too. Because here's Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, too. Democrat. By the way, anyone that's saying that Democrats care, just remember, there's a lot to take from this one here, too. Just want to share this with all you lovely, beautiful people. Right here.
Thanks. Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing. And at one point, he tells her, "Good job."
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability. Thanks.
Peter Jeffries.
Thanks.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on?
Just throwing it out there here, folks. Just remember, so that you guys notice, remember, Democrats are all in it for themselves. They're only using this probably weaponized to hurt Trump. But as for bringing justice to the victims, don't hold your breath. I do sympathize with the victims, but remember here, folks, don't expect these politicians to be heroes. He said he'd sign it if, and I do mean if it passed, if Congress is to pass it. And that's a big if, because Republicans are, of course, want to show party unity. But remember, there's voters out there, and 2026 isn't looking too good for the GOP, at least as it stands. There are many Capitol Hill Republicans that are right now falling in line behind the bill that would force this disclosure from the Justice Files concerning Mr. Epstein after Trump signaled he would sign it. Remember, if it passes Congress, the key word is if. So no one should be jumping up for joy. So 2 prominent House committee chairs said they plan to support the bill, for example. But again, Trump's support for this measure, it's very interesting how there's a shift to it. Perhaps he's signaling, and perhaps he's not worried about what's in it. Perhaps, he's been given assurances that his name won't be dropped. I mean, after all, at the end of the day, all those in power, all those who have had power in the past decades that knew Epstein, I mean, come on. Their names are all going to show up, regardless of how you feel about it. Their names are going to be there. There's photos. There's video evidence. It's not just only Trump. It's every single person who's had that figgy pudding of power. But I want to pull up something else here. Something that I played on Sunday Brunch's show, of course. And it's one of the few leading people who's actually been talking about, releasing these files and making sure there's accountability. Want to make sure we get this here. So I want to make sure we have this. Representative Thomas Massie.
And I'm joined now by Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who led the effort to release the Epstein files. Congressman Massie, thank you for being here. President Trump fought long and hard to prevent your discharge petition from going through. You won that battle. Now, what happens? How many Republicans in the House follow your lead and defy the president on this?
I think we could have a deluge of Republicans. There could be 100 or more. I'm hoping to get a veto-proof majority on this legislation when it comes up for a vote.
Jean-Claude, in regards to Hakeem Jeffries, no, Democrats will never answer the question. And I view them both, Democrats and Republicans, one the same. They'll give a word salad. But, I mean, look, that's word salad dodging 101.
Oh, and, the president's been saying this is a hoax. He's been saying that for months. Well, he's just now decided to investigate a hoax, if it's a hoax. And I have another concern about these investigations that he's announced. If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
I mean, it is extraordinary to hear him demand an investigation and only mention Democrats, only mention his political opponents. But you're saying he may not really even want any investigation. He wants to prevent the release. Why does he want to prevent this? What?
Mind you, this came out Sunday, so today's Monday Fun Day. So now all of a sudden Trump has a change in tune. Throughout this entire year, just want to pause it right here. Throughout this entire year, there have been a huge boost, big signs on the radar of the Epstein story gaining more traction, from the video surveillance in the prison facility that housed Epstein before his mysterious demise. What? I didn't say anything that could be caught up by the YouTube algorithm, but it was something. Maybe self-deletion. I don't know how you could pull that off there, but no, unless he was... Oof. My favorite TV show used to be Murder, She Wrote. Classic Coca-Cola TV. Anyways, because you never know. I mean, how is it that in a huge ironclad facility housing dangerous criminals and felons that security guards fell asleep and oh no, the power went out and oh no, The most prolific trafficker in international history somehow self-deleted? What? You crazy. How'd that happen? How did that happen? I mean, it all just doesn't add up. I mean, even Hollywood could come up with a better script than that, and that's not saying much because Hollywood's going broke. Just throwing it out there.
What is he afraid of?
You know, I've never said that these files will implicate Donald Trump, and I really don't think that they will. I think he's trying to protect a bunch of rich and powerful friends, billionaires, donors to his campaign, friends in his social circles. And that's my operating theory on why he's trying so hard to keep these files closed.
What do you think is actually in these files? I mean, we've seen
the jackacid. Listen, I've been reading your comments, man. Listen, buddy, you're one hell of a jokester. Hold on. This is the funniest thing ever. We have to trust our elected representatives to do what's right. Hey, buddy. Hey, that's a joke that'll be a killer at a party. There you go. It should be. Well done, the jackacid. Was that a joke? No, it wasn't. Jackacid, thank you for the joke.
So much Epstein material from the criminal cases, the stuff that just came out this week, from the estate. What do you think is left?
Yeah, I don't have to guess at what's in the files. I've talked to the survivors through their lawyer, and we know there are at least 20 people in those files. There are politicians, billionaires, movie producers who are implicated criminally, who haven't been investigated. And it's up to the FBI, not the survivors and the DOJ, to release those names or at least to investigate them. And when I see Donald Trump announce a bunch of investigations, I don't see him going after these rich elites that are implicated in these files, according to the survivors.
Again, I'm grateful that Massey and Ro Khanna have been able to lead the charge, and they have, at least as it stands, currently the potential votes necessary for it to pass Congress. That's if it passes Congress. There's a potential there. Now, should it pass, there's a bit of a worry that I have. A little bit of a worry. Not to be a worry wart, but, a little bit of a worry. Because it could be stuff in which that could be heavily redacted, or key pieces of information could be shockingly and conveniently missing. MISSING, missing. Because we all know how fantastic the JFK and MLK files were that were released by the Trump administration. In fact, it all turned out to be a whole big nothing burger. In fact, I think the best way to describe how all those files being released and everything in it, here's how I feel about it.
And here's what I think about it.
Hey, nothing but a fart in the wind. But yet we all know that there's things missing. Stuff that will be redacted. I think it's important for us, for the victims, and all of us, to remember that what Epstein did for all those decades was not only psychologically and physically, him and Maxwell and their sycophants psychologically and physically abuse, the women and children that were caught by them. But not to mention, there's a system of blackmail, because there are people who partook in the nefarious deeds and actions in which Epstein was more than happy to facilitate and share with others. And it should be noted that there are people who probably didn't know everything, but kind of knew, enough to where they would tell their nearest and dearest, don't be alone with Jeffrey. Why not? Just don't be alone with Jeffrey. Everybody knew. Everybody, just like with Harvey Weinstein. I keep on saying, I want to keep on saying, people knew. People knew. People knew. And no one wants to shake things up, because remember, this is the rich and powerful, the elite. These files need to be released for the victims, and also, more importantly, so that something like this is never happening again. It should not happen at all, period. Because remember, folks, we have to demand more from our leadership. But look at how long it's taken for this story to get to the light. Never forget, even O'Keefe, I know for a fact I can't risk it, But never forget James O'Keefe. He managed to get that video for his old network that he was on, of ABC News anchors, especially one in particular, so upset that they got a phone call from the mouse. Don't do that Epstein story. They had everything. They had it. This story would have been broken years ago. But no. They had to interview the royal family, Will and Kate and all that good jazz. Don't want to shake things up. Accountability must happen. So if it passes Congress, that's the key word, if. I know perhaps many of you will be busy, but, at least before tonight ends and it gets before it gets too late in the morning for tomorrow, call your congressman and woman and politely, I'm sorry to say this, politely tell them to vote in favor of releasing the files of the Epstein files. Get everyone involved while we still can, because we need to shake things up, because 2026, these same jagoff politicians are going to ask you, like any other kind of election cycle, like all the other times, hey, can you please vote for me? The first thing that must cross in your mind is, did you vote in favor of releasing the Epstein files? Because if they didn't, please slam the door in their face. Delete everything. Try if they're going to try and send you an email or text message of them asking you for money, don't give them your money. Let's make sure this midterm election cycle is going to be one that's going to hit them right in the balls, so they're on the ground looking up as we keep on kicking them. Because if any scumbag politician decides to worm their way out of this, rake them through the coals. Evil must be opposed. And as far as I'm concerned, Trump's saying if it passes Congress, it better pass Congress. It better. And there's no debate about it. That being said, look at all the people tuning up. We got bad cookies in the house. All right. Crom says Joe Biden's uncle was killed in World War II by cannibals. What? And Jacqueline Jack H seeing this here. There you go. Look, we got kill. You're egregious. There you go. Good to see you. By the way, hey, that Warhammer 40K project that I'm in, episode 3 should be dropping soon. And allegedly, supposedly, the last lines in that episode are from yours truly. So, looking forward for it. The Emperor protects. The Emperor protects. The Emperor protects, okay? The Emperor, the Imperium protects, as it should, all the time, every time. So there you go. I hope you all heard that. Tune up, hit the like button, as we should. But now we're going to switch things up here. And by the way, if you are tuning in right now, look, there's probably going to be some changes happening to the YouTube algorithm and rhymes. So double check and triple check you're still subscribed and hit the like button. But let's move on now to our next segment of the day. Let's go. All right, Chicago's budget. We're broke. We're going to have no money. No money pretty soon. Mayor's budget proposal rejected by City Finance Committee as process has been kicked into overdrive. No, not kick like the live streaming platform. Much love to kick. To December, the city's Finance Committee voted decisively against Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2026 revenue ordinance, which means, Mayor Brandon Johnson kicked in the gut again. You can't use the distraction of ICE anymore, which I would have to say, I keep telling people Chicago's going to be a war zone. What do you mean? It sounds like you want it. No, I don't want Chicago to be a war zone. But politically, socially, financially, economically, spiritually, this city is a powder keg ready to blow. And look, ICE winding down its operations. They're not fully leaving. They're just winding it all down. They said they're going to be back in the spring and summer. So hot time in the summer in the city and during the 2026 midterm election cycle. Great. How's that going to work out? Because then we go into 2027 and that's a city election cycle. Okay. So whoop-de-doo. We are $1.1 billion in the hole. Chicago is a major metropolitan city. We will be broke. This city is struggling. This city is hurting bad financially. And Mayor, not 6.6%, Mayor, 5% approval rating. When I was last on the Jimmy Dore show, I said that Mayor Brandon Johnson had 6.6 approval rating. It's now down to 5%. Okay? So I don't know who's going to vote for him. Only those lame enough to show up are going to show up. And when you're more hated than Lori Lightfoot, you are an all-time, all-star, superstar, professional in regards to how not to get reelected again. Mayor Brandon Johnson thinking about throwing his hand in the ring again for 2027 is probably the dumbest thing he could ever do, because if he were to get reelected, I would be shocked. This election, mark my words, it's going to be a big one. And if it's not, holy cow. But let's talk a little bit about it. First of all, as it stands, the City Council's Finance Committee on Monday voted against Mayor Brandon Johnson's latest 2026 budget proposal. And that's of course, many of the aldermen are just saying that it just outright doesn't work. In regards to the aldermen who voted for it, 25 voted against Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget proposal, and only 10 supported it. I'm surprised that number's that high. The budget is a disaster, said one alderman during a press conference, who opposed it and said we have to go back to the drawing board. A major sticking point has been over the proposed corporate head tax cut, or corporate head tax, which progressive groups and some city council members argue is an opportunity to force wealthy corporations to support public safety programs. But the idea has drawn opposition from Governor J.B. Pritzker and business groups who have labeled it a job killer. I recently played on this show in which one alderman in particular was confronting Governor J.B. Pritzker. For those who think that Chicago and the Chicago Democrats and all the politicians here are all friends and high-fiving each other, no. ICE was just that temporary unity. Soon as they're gone, or at least winding down their operations, you guys watch and see. Knives are out. They don't like each other. There's blood in the water. Chicago's going to be a war zone. Not only economically where people are struggling, but politically too. This is a hyper-segregated city in which everyone's going to be caring about their corner specifically. So now you got Governor J.B. Pritzker here. You know, here he was holding hands with Mayor Brandon Johnson. And now, is the honeymoon over? The answer is yes. For example, Johnson originally proposed a $21 per person per month tax that should apply to companies with more than 100 employees in Chicago. Last week, the mayor's budget team raised the threshold to 200 people in a bid to win more support from the city council. However, Monday, the threshold then returned down to 100 employees, which would bring $100 million annually to a dedicated community safety fund, according to a presentation by budget officials. Well, let's talk about this for a second here. I want to pull up something here that all of you can see. And this has to deal with one of the debates from 2023. And this has to deal with Brandon Johnson's financial tax proposal during one of the mayoral debates. I want to give a huge shout out to Jamal Green, who's I call one of the dauntless few, and called out Mayor Brandon Johnson, or then candidate Brandon Johnson, way early on.
My colleague here just put out every tax instead of a breathing tax that he wants to institute. We really can't have much more taxes in this city, or people, corporations, businesses are going to leave the city of Chicago.
The fact that no one up here has a budget plan is because they're hiding the ball behind their back. If there's anything, I'm going to tell you the truth.
You know, his plan may not raise property taxes, but it puts a tax on everything else. And the reality of the situation is that taxpayers cannot take it anymore, right? We talked about red light cameras. They need to be eliminated, period. We shouldn't be talking about equitable distribution. They need to be eliminated. We talked about the first thing that we would do is sign an executive.
All right, my apologies if the audio is very low, but it has to deal with the fact that, let me just go ahead and just address this here. In the video in particular, it was how Brandon Johnson had no political plan or financial plan for Chicago's budget. And of course, he's being called out by Jamal Green in regards to the financial security of the city, and how he didn't really have that plan and how he's failed to implement that plan throughout his entire tenure as mayor. Case in point, I want to pull this up here. Audio is a little bit better on this one, So let me go ahead and get that set up for all you lovely, beautiful people. Apologies for the low audio. Let me get this set up here.
Pay attention right now. Call your alderman if you live in the city of Chicago and tell them to vote no on Brandon Johnson's tax proposals. We are in a state of emergency in our city where they are about to take grandma's house because they just increased the property taxes dramatically on Friday. Mine went up $4,400, almost 100%. For next year. People all across the city got an increase in their property taxes, the biggest property tax hike in decades. And let me tell you why.
And it sucks. So people asking how Chicagoans are feeling. Oh no, like literally, our balls are on fire. You know, hey, I'm going to include the ladies in here too. The JJ's on fire. Everything's on fire. And no, you don't need to. The doctor can't cure it because guess what? There's no cure for stupidity in the city council or the mayor's budget plan because this city's deep in the hole and there ain't no pullout. It's a sloppy mess. And oh boy, hey, duck and cover and run, dip, dodge, and dive again or dodge again. Oops, I screwed it up because there's no fixing the financial stupidity of Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Why? Is because businesses downtown are leaving. Over a third of downtown is vacant right now. We're walking through downtown and you see it's a ghost town most of the day. And now what happened is those properties, they got devalued because nobody is in them. And so they shifted the burden to people on the south and west sides of Chicago to pay those taxes, as well as the fact that they have bloated the budget for many years. Do y'all know? I'm gonna show y'all a stat sheet here. Do y'all know that our budget has increased $6 billion since 2019? What the hell are we spending this money on? Let's talk about it. We spent $1 billion on migrants. We're spending billions of dollars on programs and things that don't work. And now what they want to do is they want to put a tax, a corporate head tax on businesses that are still downtown. And what they're going to do is they're going to leave. They're going to use AI to replace workers. They're going to send their workers to the suburbs. And that is going to increase property taxes on the south and west side of Chicago even more. And guess what happens when you don't pay your taxes? They take grandma's house. This is a state of emergency. Y'all better understand this. Call your alderman right now and tell them to vote no on this tax proposal. What Brandon Johnson must do is he must make cuts and right size our budget back to where it should be, not continue to tax us to death. Let's look at some of the tax proposals that he's also including in his budget. Check out these extra taxes they want to put on us.
Now, all of this right here is just terrible. Now, to be clear, you know, there is a growing political movement of Chicago Flips Red, but there's also been other independent organizations and third-party groups that are essentially establishing themselves as a counter to what the Democrats could be setting up in 2027. But I don't envy anyone or any political party that will sit upon the throne that was created by Old Man Daley decades before yours truly was ever even born. Whoever will inherit the throne of Chicago will inherit a city that's not only been on fire, but has been burnt through, that has been crushed with opposition, stupidity, failed leadership, and madness that's been going on unchecked. Now, us becoming a sanctuary city was a terrible plan. There was additional pain on the budget, and how that was handled and how all those migrants were handled is appalling and abysmal. Shame on the city council for doing this, and also shame on all those who thought Chicago can hold being a sanctuary city. We were not ready for it. We were never ready for it. And again, all it did is cause more rage, anger, and financial instability. There's still lead in our drinking water. There's still unchecked corruption. How did we get here? Mismanagement. And now their whole plan now is, yeah, they're talking about taxing those corporations. And we know that's not going to happen. This is America. All of it's going to fall upon the average citizen. Chicago is bleeding out people. The beating heart of Chicago is not the fancy landmarks. with the shiny buildings. It's the people, the families and generations that called this city home for so many years. And how can people survive in this now?
Look at all this. Wheel tax, property lease tax is going to increase. Limited business licenses are going to increase. Food business licenses are going to increase. This is what he wants to do. Check this out. A new increase in the rideshare congestion fee. So if you're going downtown, you're going to spend more money because you're traveling downtown in an Uber or in a Lyft. Look at all of these different fees. A social media tax he wants to put in. We cannot take this anymore. Call your alderman and vote no right the hell now. And real quick, look at our budget in 2019, 10.67 billion. And today it's 17.1 billion. In 6 years, $6.5 billion.
How that happen? How did all that happen? Again, Miguel H. says freedom cities. And this city will be doomed if we don't have the proper leadership. I want to pull up something else here, too. This is from local news here in Chicago.
This budget battle shaping up to be the Chicago version of the federal government funding stalemate. The mayor standing firm on his plan to tax the rich and big corporations, while half of the city council said today that there is more work to be done to trim the budget down. The debate over the corporate head tax coming to a head today in the city council's finance committee.
The last minute negotiating, with people getting into the closet to try to make deals, really just tells you how bad this budget is.
The closet is where the mayor's chief advisor, Jason Lee, was trying to wrangle last minute support to kill a vote against Johnson's revenue plan.
Can we get this vote done now? Can we get to my colleague's motion? This is a joke. They're calling people out there right now to delay this.
Lee then getting called out on the council floor, blowing kisses to alders as he left the chamber.
No, that's not how you maintain confidence, blowing out kisses. But okay, I'll take a kiss. I'll grab one and be like, I love you too, and then flip you off.
By a vote of 25-10, the finance committee then shot down the mayor's revenue plan with his head tax.
The message is so strong, so clear, and pretty transparent from the taxpayers. They want us to go back and find those efficiencies, find the cuts, and not continue to stick them with new taxes.
The mayor portraying this budget battle as one between working people and big corporations.
Here's what I do know. It's property taxes, garbage fees, grocery taxes.
Danny says, is the Corn Hub considered social media? Asking for a friend. In this day and age, I'm going to say yes, probably. But, it's nothing to be too proud of. Hey, are you on the hub? Hey, follow me there. No one should normalize that. How did that get normalized? Have I been sleeping under a rock? Apparently so.
Or layoffs. Or we can actually protect working people. That's what this budget does.
Alders emboldened by last year's successful defeat of the mayor's plan to raise property taxes.
I don't think any of us believe that they have reached their maximum level of efficiency yet, because it has been our past practice that the more we push back and say no, the more they come back and say, oh, by the way, look what we just found.
The mayor calling for opponents to tell him where to cut the budget. I pushed the mayor on the head tax.
So just to be clear, you are not backing down on the head tax whatsoever. It's going to be in your budget.
I'm not backing down in protecting working people, right? That's the
part. That's kind of dodging the question. If you
No, it's not.
Thank you for a non-answer.
Well, hold on a second. What's a non-answer? The corporate tax is in this budget. It will stay in this budget. Is that clear enough?
The mayor had been pushing.
It's the same mayor who just always gets upset at the media now. I mean, even Lightfoot was a little bit more presentable when she was being questioned by the media. And this same Lori Lightfoot, who just had an attitude with anybody who questioned her. But my goodness, Mayor Brandon Johnson, he always gets perturbed and angry. I mean, kind of explains that a lot of, his attitude and just overall just how he's been rolling things around. But in my opinion, the fact that he has gotten a whole bunch of no's. Now, look, corporations, yeah, they're able to get away with this. I, for one, have to say, the burden should not be put upon working class citizens, but I fear that that's what's going to happen. You want this city to die? You want this city to become one big old graveyard? Keep on taxing the citizens. This is a problem that the politicians are all going to have to figure out, but the burden should nowhere at any point in time be put upon the citizens of Chicago. And before anyone types in the comment section, oh, well, you Chicagoans voted for this. No, actually, no, we did not. Let me tell you something. Voter turnout in this city has been abysmal because of the Democrat machine that incentivized people not to show up, except for sycophants and party loyalists. You want to talk about voter enthusiasm? There is no enthusiasm because of the machine. It's the machine that chews us up and spits us out. The machine that was able to take over. The machine that bullied its way, that continues to operate even long after an election is over. You want to talk about the morale of the people of Chicago? Yeah, it's at an all-time low, but there is now a growing fury that's happening here. But what I want to say to people who think that either flipping Chicago red or independent or anything of that nature, just remember, this is the machine we're talking about, not the Democrat machine. Because I want to give a shout out to my colleagues, my good friend, Dr. Nick, shout out to him because he corrected me. It's not a Democrat machine. It's a political machine. That political machine will consume said candidate and make them part of the machine because that's how it operates. It has to be dismantled, blown up, shredded, shot at, however which way you want to call it. That machine must go away, period. And any political affiliate that's going to sit upon the throne of the mayor of Chicago needs to actually step up and lead. Because what you will have isn't a pot of gold, it'll be a pot of crap. You have to deal with ICE coming back here in the city. You have to deal with the fact that the city's hyper-segregated. You have to deal with the fact that everything is falling apart. And now what? More tax burdens upon regular citizens? As if the people of Chicago haven't suffered enough. We need a full-on relief here. And that also starts by reversing the policies that previous mayors have implemented. But we will see. Where will these politicians vote? How will they vote? Will they actually even have a budget? Well, they're kicking the can down the road for next month or in December. Well, you could kick the can down the road for so long until you run out of road. And, oh no, that can just fell off a cliff. And all of Chicago's going along with it. We don't solve this now. The mayor wants to say that, violence in the city is at an all-time low. Wait till people have nothing left to lose. These politicians are not prepared with the overall rage that's been boiling in the city. Chicagoans are usually chill until they have no reason to be chill anymore. That being said, War Zone Chicago. It's going to be a thing. Mark my words. Mark my words. Mark my words. It's going to happen. Shout out to everybody that's tuning up right now. There you go. And let's see. Hold on. What else we got here? Shout out to people tuning up. Tuning in. Thank you for the kind words about my kid has warned you all. I'm just saying heads up. It's like I'm warning you. No, just saying, hey, heads up. This can happen. And like the T-Rex escaping from Jurassic Park, this will be my lines, just similar to Ian Malcolm. God damn it, I hate it when I'm right. I hate it when I'm right. Sometimes I get tired. Sometimes I get so sleepy. Sometimes I get burnt out. But don't worry, folks. I got a story that's going to make you happy. Natalie Williams says, I asked the questions. You asked the questions? Well, how dare you? How dare you ask questions? And by the way, Dr. Nick, Waka Waka, there you go. Praise be to St. Abachan. Keep your head on a swivel, says Rich, as you should, as everybody should. Shout out to my Kick people. By the way, I found out that we are second place in Kick for news. News that, is so helpful to you because you guys are awesome, as it should be. So there you go. Shout out to everyone that's tuning up right now, tuning in to Hard Lens Media. But now I think it's only fair that I got a story that's going to make you angry. Or maybe, I don't know. It's just going to be one of those not so feel good stories of the day. All right, folks, here we go. A not so good feeling story of the day. So, Gabe Newell just received his $500 million super yacht with gaming rooms and more. It would be funny if the boat sank. No, I'm sorry. So, Valve co-founder Gabe Newell has taken delivery of the Leviathan, a 111-meter Oceano super yacht valued between $375 and $535 million. The vessel, the 50th largest yacht in the world, was built in close collaboration with Newell, who also purchased the Ocean Co. earlier this year. Ocean Co. CEO Marcel Okenhout, I think that's how you say his name, said the project followed non-traditional process from the start and described the finished vessel as the most comfortable yacht the shipyard has ever produced. Hooray! Oh, man. It's a super yacht. So let's talk about what it's set up with. By the way, if there's ever an apocalypse moment, Pirates of the High Seas, they'll know their first target. Ye mateys. So this network powers everything from its entertainment systems and satellite connectivity to its hospital air conditioning system and garages for tenders, toys, and a submarine. Oh, the Titan submarine right there, right? And the yacht is also said to feature a gaming room with 15 PCs. Great. The yacht carries 2 gyms, a cinema, a dedicated drinks pantry, and a beach club of nearly 250 square meters with a bar, a spas, a pizza oven, and diving platforms. A full medical facility sits on board equipped for extended voyages and staffed by a live-in nurse. So, what could possibly go wrong? I'm not saying anything. All right. Look, a super yacht like that looks comfortable, looks nice. But man, I've seen stories like this before where said yacht sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Super mansion falls off a cliff. Supercar explodes. Just saying. Just saying. Potato Biden, is it made out of carbon fiber? What are you implying at? That carbon fiber can't work under serious pressure? That little submarine? Let's see. My first yacht was a Volkswagen that went for a swim. Ooh la la. There you go. And I Pincus says rich people make me sick. There you go. Volunteera, come on, man. Come on, man. I ain't reading that right now. All right. Barnes Holmes says, what could go wrong? And Jacqueline Jack H was the most positive comment of them all. I like Kit's jacket. There you go. There you go. There you go. Submarines are stealthier, as you should. And what else we have here? A boat is the safest place in a zombie apocalypse. No, it's not. No, it's not. In fact, hey, do you think a boat's a safe place for a zombie apocalypse? Type 1 for yes, Kit, it is. Type 2, no, it ain't. There ain't no such thing as safe. I think it's a perfect way to end this segment. So there you go. But hold on. Wait. Bad Cookies, you wrote this. Gabe is a piece of shite. I do love Steam, though. Got mad hours racked up and plenty of games on Steam. There you go. Old man Barker, why you hating my? Hold on. First of all, wearing pants right here. Wearing pants. Second of all, don't hand the shirt. And don't hand this. Listen, don't be handing my jacket. Okay. All right. This is the get up right here. This is the perfect get up. No. You don't ever hate. No, don't hate. I didn't lose no bet. I wore this willingly. Willingly. You better believe that. And let's see. Bring in White Gladys as we should. All right. And get ready for fox hunting. Hey, there you go. There you go. Miguel H, Miguel H, go to the subway. Go. You know what? Hold on, Miguel H. You know what? Miguel? This one's for you. This one's for you. All right. This one's for you.
Go to the fucking subway. Go to the fucking subway. Get out of here.
There you go. Stop being mean. Everyone out there hating on my jacket, guess what?
Wait, get out of here. Bye. Get out of here. Go to the fucking subway. Go to the fucking subway. Get out of here.
Exactly. Go to the freaking subway. Get out of here. What's that attitude? What's that attitude with me? How dare you? How dare you? We got Trans Gemini in the chat. Good to see everybody here tuning in and hitting that like button as you should all the time, every time. Everyone should hit that like button right now. So make it happen live and direct. But now we're going to be moving on to our next segment of the day. How to break this down, but we're going to break it down perfectly. So let's get to it. Let's get started with it. All right, Tucker Carlson talking about Thomas Crooks, how he mysteriously went offline, and now there seems to be a little bit of a scandal surrounding it. So let's go ahead and bring this up here. First of all, shout out to everyone that's been still talking about this, but this has to deal with the individual who, at least as it stands right now, was a suspect who took all the blame for the attempted assassination on Donald Trump. So let's go and pull this up here.
These remarks were especially notable because they came at the final phase of Crooks's YouTube commenting. At that point, a new character emerged into the conversation, a user named Willie Tepes, who started pressuring Crooks to commit violence. For example, quote, "If a gun and a badge is all that is needed, then authority obviously comes from the barrel of a gun. We have more guns than they do. There is no way we can avoid a war at this point, so you better just get used to the idea. We have nothing to lose and everything to win. And the alternative, a global police state, is unacceptable. Nothing in life is simple, but that is no argument against doing it." So who is this Willie Tepes? Unfortunately, we don't know. The FBI hasn't made any mention of him in public, although they certainly know he exists. Just days after the shooting, somebody screenshotted Tepes' YouTube account page, despite the fact he had very few followers. To the extent that he can be traced online now, you can find his username being used on a foreign Antifa website. Those sites link him to the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has been designated a terrorist group by the U.S. State Department. That's all we know. We do know, however, that Crooks's online footprint abruptly ends after his encounter with this mysterious figure, Willie Tepes. Regardless of whoever Willie Tepes is or was and what his motives may have been, who he may have been working for, there is no doubt that Crooks was ripe for recruitment by someone. From early 2019 to mid-2020, as his political views were evolving, Crooks searched for Trump more than 700 times online. He also searched for Jack Ruby, the man who assassinated Lee Harvey Oswald. He then submitted queries for craziest chemical reactions, cars running over protesters, best places for mass shooting El Paso, Trump Civil War, Orlando shooting reaction, firing an AR-15 as fast as possible, fertilizer bomb, how to make napalm, how to make a Molotov cocktail, mass shooting.
Oh boy, the things you can learn on Google and what will be there.
Canada, Oklahoma bombing, and sniper in Dallas shooting. He also searched for American Nazi Party, German national anthem 1933-1945, Hitler's speeches with subtitles, neo-Nazis, and quote, why gays need to go. So here you have a volatile, troubled, possibly mentally ill young man with a long record of espousing violence in public. The FBI clearly knew he existed. And then you have, at the very end of his years commenting in public, espousing violence, an exchange with a mysterious figure affiliated with a group that we know is being monitored by the U.S. State Department. It turns out that around the same time that Thomas Crooks was making these searches,
Topher 1010, you're not wrong about any of that. I mean, come on, stuff like that garners attention. Like, excuse me, FBI, open up. Or, as we all know, our personal favorite, political police, Commissariat Hans and Deputy Fritz at the door. Hello.
and posting overt threats of violence against public figures on YouTube, the FBI was issuing contracts to private sector tech surveillance firms to harness the power of mass data collection tools that would monitor social media for people just like Thomas Crooks. It's hard to imagine that Thomas Crooks, who was making these posts publicly and in his own name, had not been identified and looked at closely by federal law enforcement. In fact, it's impossible to imagine. What do we know Well, we know that the FBI had access to these YouTube comments, and rather than giving us valuable information about them, giving us a sense of why Thomas Crooks did what he did, they used a selective read of those comments to lie about what Thomas Crooks was thinking. 2.5 weeks after the attack on July 30th, a source familiar with the investigation told CNN that, quote, federal investigators are looking into a YouTube account possibly connected to Crooks in which the user espoused political violence as well as anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes. Well, of course, it wasn't possibly connected to Thomas Crooks, as the FBI knew full well it was Thomas Crooks's account. There was never any question about that. And yet the same day, the FBI's then deputy director made the same dishonest claim before Congress. The week previous, then FBI Director Christopher Wray publicly questioned whether Trump was even shot.
With respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that hit his ear.
In February 2025, the New York Post reported that, quote, the FBI has obstructed efforts to solve the mystery of why Thomas Matthew Crooks, who left no manifesto, did what he did. And this fact, said the Post, left local law enforcement as well as Crooks's former friends, classmates, and teachers frustrated. The level of lying and obstruction is shocking. Less than a month after the shooting, Congressman Clay Higgins of Louisiana, a former police officer, traveled to Butler to conduct his own investigation into what happened. When he arrived, he discovered a disturbing fact. The FBI released Crooks's body for cremation 10 days after July 13th. This wasn't known to the public until Higgins arrived in Butler on August 5th, when the coroner told the congressman, quote, he would never have released Crooks's body to the family for cremation or burial without specific permission from the FBI.
Huh. It's almost as if it doesn't add up. And there's been nothing but a big old cover-up.
The timing of Crooks's cremation is notable. The day Crooks's body was burned was also the day the House Homeland Security and Oversight Committees had begun their investigations into the shooting. The fact the body was cremated made it impossible for investigators outside the FBI to verify the coroner and autopsy report. You can't do a new tox screen because the body doesn't exist.
And if it doesn't exist, hey, no evidence. And if there's no evidence, stop asking questions and follow orders. Now, of course, there's a little bit more to this. I want to pull this up here. Now, I know it's Megyn Kelly. I know, everyone calm down, but just wanted to bring in their 2 cents in here for a second.
This is very odd that just now Tucker comes out with this information. Miranda Devine.
And Natalie Williams says, Fiorella Isabel, probably, if you're talking about the same fee we're talking about, says there's more theater in politics than in Hollywood. She ain't wrong. I mean, after all, DC is so interconnected with Hollywood, and Hollywood's so interconnected with DC. They're interchangeable. They connect. They fit together. That includes scumbag activities and villainy.
I don't know. I have no idea, Glenn. My suspicion is that Tucker dropped this bomb on Thursday. The FBI was defending itself, over the weekend since Thursday. And then Miranda Devine gets a big scoop on Monday. Do not have anything to back this up other than my suspicion that the FBI probably provided this data to Miranda. That's my guess, because she just has excellent sources inside the government. And to me, this almost seems like a head fake, almost like a look over here instead of at what Tucker did, because it's just too coincidental that, as you point out, we've had nothing on this guy, nothing. And now suddenly two big information dumps. Tucker's, he's being honest about exactly where he got it. Then comes this stuff about he's a furry. You tell me, why would the government not have shared that? Like, truly, why wouldn't the FBI have been sharing that, the furry thing, with us? Because
I wonder how many times she had to say that line without laughing out loud. Furry. We're at the end times, folks, okay? Where the fact that furry is now being put into our lexicon. I'd rather have somebody drop in the reference 6'7" right now and laugh at that than knowing for that here on out, history books will look at this, open it up, and there'll be mention of furries. May the Emperor preserve our souls. We're not ready for this madness.
Because this FBI did share that around the Nashville shooter, the young woman who was identifying as male, whereas Biden's FBI wouldn't. But this FBI did share those facts about that shooter. This FBI did share those facts again about the Charlie shooter. So I'm a little confused as to what may be going on behind the scenes.
Right. And also in terms of the political trajectory that Tucker outlined, and that was great reporting because it took you along the way on this political path that this shooter seemed to have traversed by virtue of analyzing his online footprint, from going from somebody on the far right, ranting and raving against how Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and the squad need to be murdered and immigrants need to be murdered, to something that resembles someone more on the left, very critical of Trump for his handling of COVID by not taking seriously enough, and other kinds of progressive rhetoric. I mean, it could be that at the end of the day, this is just a very confused person, could be a nihilist. But why don't we have this information in our possession? This is also something
RB Ham says, if you believe the official narrative of this PSYOP, I have a vaccine I'd like to sell you. Really? Is it chock full of vitamins and nutritious other things in there that then all of a sudden don't work at all, period?
You would think Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and the Trump administration would want the public to know. In other words, you could accuse them of acting politically if the person were a conservative or on the right, just thought President Trump wasn't conservative enough. Maybe you.
Volunteer says people can't handle reality. That's why we need Hollywood, pro wrestling, politics, and furries. Oh, please, man. Volunteer, man. Come on, man. Don't give up on humanity just yet. There's still hope.
Could say, oh, well, they're on the right. They didn't want to have somebody on the right be blamed. But what about all the reporting that undercuts that and that suggests that he had a different ideology? What possible motive do they have for hiding that? And, I do think that we have to be careful about embracing conspiracy theories, but the reason people do so is because of behavior like this. Tucker's asking the question, did he go and get trained at the gun range by anybody? Who was this person online who seemed to be targeting him? How is it possible the FBI didn't know about him beforehand, given how explicit these violent threats were? And when you have the FBI hiding information and refusing to answer those basic questions, of course, conspiracy theories are going to emerge in that, because that's how trust and faith by the American public is lost in these institutions.
No, don't worry. The trust and faith has long since been gone. But what's the bigger takeaway from this? Well, since the incidents have taken place, especially with the high-profile shooting of what happened to Charlie Kirk and everybody else in between for this, not only for 2024, but going into this year too, what has it led to? Well, it's led to more online suppression, censorship, people being demonetized, shadow banned, and everything else in between. I mean, what else has really changed except for the fact that we are witnessing now a massive wave, and yes, this relates to what I fear is going to happen in 2026, in which there will be a new change in regards to how content is consumed and how all of you viewers and subscribers will be allowed to consume content. What I've been worried about was the aftermath of what happened to Trump in 2024, or at least the situation at hand that took place to him not once but twice, and then of course what happened to Charlie Kirk and everything surrounding these stories. I've been noticing how independent media and those who are just viewers and those who like to share news on social media who don't even have platforms are being censored and suppressed. Comments being deleted, or tweets on Easy Street being deleted. Instagram posts being taken down because they violate guidelines. There's this talk about open transparency and openness for free speech. What I'm seeing more is suppression. I mean, questions have to be brought up. I mean, site security around an area for high-profile people. I mean, I'm just going to be that guy to say it here, but the roofs of buildings should be secured by a 2-man or 4-man team, making sure ain't nobody up there. You know, because there should be people up there, at least that, especially if they're a high profile person, especially in this day and age where you got people who are having weird parasocial relationships with people on social media. I mean, let's be clear here. There's a lot of wackadoos out there. There's a lot of crazy people out there. There's a lot of nut jobs out there who would think that they're the next Thomas Jefferson or something of that nature, the next great revolutionary, when in fact they're just a crazy person. But then again, too, there are situations that take place in turn that, well, I guess, hey, let's create this narrative. And if anyone goes against it, censor, censor, censor. Not that I've seen this before, but we've seen this before. Especially, hey, remember when all of you tried to share that Hunter Biden laptop story? Yeah, that didn't go too well, huh? Or talking about anything else in regards for free speech. How's it working out? We are in some very interesting times here, and I have more questions. Like how this all happened, evidence being deleted and terminated. Will we get full transparency? Well, we didn't get the real full transparency with the MLK and JFK files. The Epstein files are up for a vote, which will be tomorrow when I clip this. So we'll see if that happens, if that drops. Full transparency. We get full transparency what happened in July. That's the question. But I'm not going to hold my breath because we know when things are hidden. It's all part of the plan. And the plan is to keep you in the dark. Wake up to reality. That being said, good to have everybody here tuning up and watching Hard Lens Media. Redacted. We'll get full transparency when we take it. The Accord Lord. There you go. What else we got here? But trust everything released now. Now, Jacqueline Jack H. from the great island of Britannia. Cheers and salutations to your true Roman name. Who started the whole stupid furry thing? I have no idea. Look, okay, for those of you who don't know, furry, it's just... No, we're not having an educational lesson with Kit, but I'll just keep it short and quick. Look, there's people with different preferences out there, and there are some people who I guess are attracted to, I guess, the idea of being an animal, an anthropomorphic animal. And you know, to each their own. But, you know, okay, it gets weirder than after that. I don't want to say anymore because it's you know what it is? I'm just reminded of that scene from Event Horizon. Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see because we have to gouge them out. R.I.P. to the crew of the Event Horizon. Next time when you go into the warp, have your Geller shields on, okay? Have your Geller shields on. There you go. Actually, I am not Japanese. I'm not part Japanese at all. If Kid's really part Japanese, if he dressed up as a samurai, it wouldn't be cultural appropriation. I'll still dress up as a samurai, though. Take that. Try and stop me now, cancel culture. Dan Barr, get up. You know what, Dan Barr? No. Dan Barr, guess what? Guess what, buddy? I got something for you. I got something for you right here. I got something for you right here, man. Okay? Go. Get out of here.
Go to the fucking subway. Get out of here. Go to the fucking subway. Go to the fucking subway. Get out of here.
Go to the subway. I don't have time for you, man. I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you, man. I don't have time for this. All right? That's what I don't have time for. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Now, folks, a hilarious story, but a story nonetheless, and we're going to talk about it, okay? The BBC is getting hard and firm and ready to fight Trump. It's going to get in his face, slapping him around. That's right, folks. The BBC is determined to fight against Donald Trump in a billion-dollar fight. So what's going on here? The BBC is standing up and firm. So the BBC is determined to fight Anti-defamation suit brought by President Donald Trump, said the new chair on Monday. As cited by multiple media outlets, Trump earlier accused the British broadcaster of deceptively editing parts of his speech delivered to the Capitol Hill riot. Speaking to reporters on Friday, the president promised that his team would sue the BBC for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week, despite receiving a formal apology. Just say, hey, we messed up. There you go. This came days after the BBC apologized for airing a documentary that edited a speech Trump gave shortly before the Capitol Hill riot on January 6, 2021, when his supporters stormed the building during the certification of Joe Biden's 2020 election victory. The broadcaster previously admitted that the edit gave the mistaken impression that President Trump had made a direct call for violent action, which is, again, very stupid. There was oversight. The people who looked at the video said it was wrong, and you chose to release it anyways. Why were you so stupid to do that? You grade A morons. They're going to go to Bovine University. Continue on. In a letter, as staff seen by local media, Shah, one of the new heads of the BBC, said there's no basis for a defamation case, and we are determined to fight this. We are, of course, accurately aware of the privilege of our funding and the need to protect our license and fee payers, the British public, he said, in potential legal settlement costs. So on Sunday, BBC's former director, General Tony Hall, echoed the sentiment, saying the broadcaster should not pay out, given that any settlement would essentially be made with public money. Oh, people of Britannia. People of Britannia. I don't know what's going to happen here, but the BBC standing up to Trump. And not to mention it's public money. If they lose, if there's a potential where should they lose, it's going to be ugly. As the dispute escalated, the BBC Director General and head of news recently resigned. Dave acknowledged that there have been some mistakes made, pointing to the current debate around the BBC News, though he did not directly mention Trump's criticism. The broadcaster has also been accused of pro-Israeli bias and dehumanizing Palestinians during the Gaza war, Gaza genocide, whatever. Look, listen, at this point, international forces are set to go into Gaza. All right, what can you rebuild? Gaza's been turned into a moonscape. There's nothing there, nothing standing. Continuing on even further, here was Trump's recent statement about this.
You push it because they haven't offered, our understanding is they've offered no money whatsoever. They've apologized in a letter, but they haven't offered you a penny in compensation. There was this figure of $1 billion that you may be pursuing.
I think I have an obligation to do it. Look, I'm not looking to get into lawsuits, but I think I have an obligation to do it. This was so egregious. If you don't do it, you don't stop it from happening again with other people. I think you probably have an obligation. I'd like to find out why they did it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Who thinks like this? And I wonder if they've done it. We'll find this out. The nice part about litigation is we'll find out how many times have they done it to other people. Maybe they did it to me quite a bit. Because I've gotten a lot of publicity over there before. I was getting in Aberdeen, which is such a great place.
You push it because they haven't offered, our understanding is they've.
All right, so there you go. There you go. Trump going after the BBC. BBC. And by the way, I need to just state this out here. Look, what they did was that video edit was absolutely stupid. My own personal opinion about everything that took place on January 6th was a complete epic shite show. And in regards to how it's impacted the media landscape, well, first of all, I think it was the tip of the spear that led to the massive wave of censorship that we've been dealing with since 2020. It opened the door. It was that big old spear, and corporate media was more than happy to contribute to it. Do I think that this is revenge being served? Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, not a fan of Trump at all. But in regards for corporate media like CBS and ABC, and apparently now it's allegedly that there are other news networks across the pond, and not only across the Atlantic Ocean, but the Pacific Ocean too, that have allegedly, as it stands right now, could have done the same kind of practice that the BBC did. And so that's not looking too good. It ain't. However, it is also calling out the question of how corporate media is finally collapsing under its own hypocrisy. And I, for one, I'm going to sit back and watch. I have no dog in the race. I just like seeing the two animals fight each other. That is politicians and corporate media. The romance is falling apart. But there will be some consequences or repercussions, because if this does take into full effect, the legal process, the wheels of justice move entirely slow, and we will see how this all plays out in the end. In the end, hey, media accountability. Just don't edit something because somebody gives you bad feelings. Donald Trump, however which way you feel about him, that video was edited, deceptively edited. It's not the full video. And I played the video context in previous episodes for Hard Lens Media. So now it comes a legal courtroom battle. So content gold. And I'm going to be digging that gold mine because it's going to be funny. It's going to be funny to me because whenever I see these corporate media outlets struggle or crap in the bed, all I can think is good. Let them crap themselves because it's funny. And it should be funny to all of you too. There you go. All right. With that being said, folks, it's a late evening show, but I would not be here hanging out with all of you were I not able to just at least have some fun with every single one of you. But before we end the show, real quick, again, we're going to be playing some fun music, but it will only be on Kick. It'll only be on Kick. So I'm going to have some fun little videos here to play on Kick, just for all you lovely, beautiful people. You know, there you go, because I like hanging out with all of you. I just at least want to end the evening on a high note because it's Monday. But nonetheless, if you want to help out Hard Lens Media, here is our Linktree, Peachtree. There you go. You can follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, X, Rumble, Kick, Patreon, Substack, Discord, Instagram. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. Patron supporters, you keep us alive, and without all of you, we would not exist. So for that, I'm eternally grateful and thankful to have all of you here. When we go live, we give our live stream link on Patreon, Substack, and Discord, so that way you'll be notified in some form or another. There you go. Here's our Patreon page. Patron supporters, please consider supporting us, consider joining us, and everything else in between, because you keep the show alive, you keep our costs down low, and for that, I'm so grateful for your constant vigil and support. And hey, we are currently still in our fight, and any which way you can, please consider supporting our GoFundMe. It's been a very rough year, emotionally and physically, and I just want to thank everyone that has donated and helped us out so much in our fight. One day this nightmare will be over. One day it'll be done and we can all move on with our lives. But until then, thank you for the solidarity and support. Thank you for sharing our GoFundMe. We're still in this fight, and any which way you can share our GoFundMe on social media, I'll be grateful. Be it on Reddit, Discord, Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube, any social media platform, any groups and allies. I just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for the solidarity and support. So there you go. But now, folks, as always, later gators to all of you. If you're on Kick, hey, I got some fun stuff for you, okay? Because I love my Kick people, and I always will love my Kick people. And don't worry, folks, there's going to be a Wednesday morning show, because Wednesday morning is always going to be fun hanging out with every single one of you. And of course, one other thing here as well. Thank you to the outstanding people that have been with us from the very beginning. And huge shout out to a couple of people. Papa the Sailor, please take good care of yourselves. Lady Alex, you're almost a few days away from retirement. There you go. Trans Gemini, I see you in the chat. So good to see you again. Special shout out to my main man, Dr. Nick. Hope you're doing well. Much love to the family. And Chanda, the Trailer Park Pundit, you are an outstanding queen and fighter in my group. We are going to knock cancer out as we should. Shout out to Cowboy Kitty and his sister-in-law, Natalia. Natalia's freedom. We must keep on fighting for that. Number 3, finally, most importantly, all of them. They're all important. I love all 3 of them. Shout out to Aspen. Hashtag free Aspen. We are in solidarity and support for you. Never back down. Keep on fighting and speaking truth to power. So there you go. So I want to give a shout out to everybody. So if you're watching us now on Kick, we'll see you there. We're going right there. Courageous yet controversial. There you go. Mastermind L. Oh my God, I just realized Kid is dressed like Ron Jeremy in the movie Boondock Saints. Oh, so Mastermind wants to make some jokes, huh? You're saying I look like a washed up 70s corn star? Is that what you're saying? Bad Cookie's laughing at that? Kid's got to get back to his job as doorman at the strip club. Hey, where's your ID, man? Where's your ID, man? Yeah, okay, I see that. I see everybody. I see everybody laughing. I see the jokes. Stop hating. Stop hating. Y'all are haters. Y'all are busters. There you go. All right. All right, there you go. Man, we tried you in love, kid. I know. But if you don't mind, I have to be an FBI right now for the ladies. Okay, so there you go. We got some fun music slide in store for Kick. We got some fun little videos here and there. Let me make sure I got this all set up here too. Hold on. I want to make sure we got this all set up. My audience got joke. They got jokes on me. They got jokes on me all the time. I can't believe it. Why do people keep making fun of me? Why do people make fun of me all the time? My feelings are hurt. So there you go. I want to make sure I get this all set up just so that way everyone will be happy and ready and set, because we're going to go right now to Kick. Because if you don't got to get it, if you don't get it, go figure it out. So go to Kick. Go to Kick right now on Hard Lens Media. You'll find it on the Linktree Peachtree. My name's Kit. This is Hard Lens Media, and I'll see you around on the flip side, as I should all the time, every time.